Hmm. Hello friends, a very warm welcome to Ansarkari, and let's take up important themes and concepts. First one is the India's air defense shield. So in the mains examination, you can always get a question, what is India's integrated air command and control system, IACCS? So it is an automated command and control system that integrates data from all defense assets to detect, identify, intercept and destroy hostile intruders. This is a very important air defense system. So you can go for this picture. This is very, very important, very, very important. I'm not, going into the details of the lecture, but the point is that you have to see how it is working: short range, medium range, long range, and then you have the threats are addressed by multiple overlapping layers. So that's how it is. You know, uh, all the names are also given here. For example, in the lower ones, it is shown very clearly, like international border, the 200-kilometer area, Akash Tir, and IACCS. So the surveillance radars, they are shown with different color: medium range to surface to air missiles, and counter drone, and MAN PADS. So the whole point is that from the examination perspective, you have to understand what is the first layer, second layer, third layer, and fourth layer. So it is working. It is a multi-layered umbrella. Point defense comprises low-level air defense. Guns and shoulders-powered weapons is the first one, while aerial defense comprises fighter aircrafts and long-range missiles. So the modern radars of the IAF, both ground radar and the air-based airborne warning and control system and airborne early warning and control system, are networked into this. So they are playing a key role because they can detect, they can identify, they can intercept. So it is a layered process. That is what you have to understand. The first layer is counter drone system and man portable air defense system, while the second and third layer comprise point air defense, short range surface to air missiles, and medium range surface to air missiles. And the fourth range is you have the grid comprising long range surface to air missiles. So in future, for future warfare, which is becoming very complex, this is really going to help it. If I go on the side one, why does Saudi Arabia wants a civil nuclear deal with the US? Because Saudi Arabia wants to work on its Vision 3030 economic plan of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and it want to transform its economy from the fossil fuel economy to further de-fossilize or green economy. It is want to become. So atomic power could displace energy intensive water desalination and air conditioning. So this is how it is. Saudi Arabia, uh, also said that if old foe Iran develops a nuclear weapon, it would have also to follow the suit. A declaration apparently aimed at ramping the pressure on Tehran, but which has also fueled concern about its own ambitions. So, if Saudi Arabia also says that it will enrich uranium, a process that can also be used as a part of the military program to create yellow cake fuel for nuclear power generation, so that it could sell. So that is how it is. It is for US. It is a strategic and commercial gain, and obviously US is going to have benefit. These things are at play because uh, America might agree with the idea of uranium enrichment facility on Saudi territory because it is going to strategically help the United States, and Saudi Arabia, which has a uranium reserves on its territory. It could theoretically use an enrichment facility to produce highly enriched uranium, which, if purified enough, can yield for fissile bombs, means fissile material for bombs. So Trump justifies Qatari plane gift, but then in the US president system, and also what the Constitution says, that a gift beyond a certain value, it is supposed to be going to the Congress, discussion must be there, and then only you can take it. So this is the first time it is happening. So he is breaking so many rules and so many conventions. That is what we have to see. PM Shri, we know the PM Shri 2022 scheme of Union Ministry of Education, which is aiming to upgrade more than 14,500 schools. So the Kerala is saying that PM Shri is part of NEP 2020, which is the CPIM led state government sees a tool for synchronization of education in the country. And PM Shri schemes seek to bring the state schools under the control of the center. So how far do you agree with this? Please let me know. and especially in context of the air defense and control system, you have to have an idea of drawing on your own about the details, like the way we have discussed. So these two questions you must. So this is a kind of a encroachment on the federal structure according to Kerala as far as India is concerned. So reading between the lines of Rashmirathi and Ramcharitmanas, Rashmirathi by राष्ट्रकवि दिनकर, जब नाश मनुष्य पर छाता है पहले विवेक मर जाता है, हित वचन नहीं तूने माना, मैत्री का मूल्य नहीं पहचाना, तो ले मैं भी आ जाता हूँ, अंतिम संकल्प सुनाता हूँ, यहाँ नहीं अब रण होगा, जीवन जय कर मरण होगा. So this is how a very famous line is there. So that is what we also want to say. And similarly, in रामचरितमानस, मैं बस आपको रामचरितमानस की वो पंक्ति जो थी, विनय न माने जलधि जद, भय भय 3 दिन बीत, बोले रांग सकौप तब, भय बिन होए न प्रीत. So without any kind of deterrent, any kind of love will also not survive. So inflation is cooling down. That is the next topic. Inflation is cooling down. So you have to make a list of items or the sectors or the areas where if the inflation goes down beyond a certain level, then how it is going to helpful and what are the challenges. So same thing, inflation is cooling down, food and beverage and also agricultural production and arrival of fresh rabi harvest and comfortable reservoir levels and the good monsoon. These are the points. The core inflation rate being the highest since November 2023 is indicative of the signs of demand being steady. That is how the point is. So if the even inflation is going down, that doesn't mean the demand is not there. Clothing and footwear inflation is also there. Housing inflation, food and light is also on track. So the temporary lowering of tariffs by US and China also is helping in containing, controlling the high uncertainty and volatility. This is also one of the reasons behind the low inflation. Again, we have been talking about Securities and Exchange Board of India. It is moving, easing norms for FPIs buying only government bonds. So this is a kind of a facilitation. This is a part of KYC. This is a part of E of doing business. So please think, I want to ask you 3 or 4 measures which you think India must take in order to mature its capital market, both primary and secondary. The bond prices gain on ceasefire, fall in the retail inflation. This is one of the consequences which we have discussed also, that how whenever such a geopolitical situation emerges, then there are impacts on it. It is to be seen from this perspective. Otherwise, we cannot just say that war ends and the rupee will gain, or the war ends and suddenly prices will cool down. Delhi must makes it red line clear, especially on expectations from the US on the Indo-Pakistan dynamic. Harish Pant and Vivek Mishra, they are putting their points. So point is that India always believed in the fact that India's trade with the US is a different factor, and we can't compromise on we are not going to internationalize the issue of Kashmir. So, US stand on India-Pakistan dynamics since 1999 Kargil conflict, as well as evolving Trump doctrine where external intervention without tangible economic interest seem a policy of the past. So the point is, the US climbed down from its earlier position of non-intervention, was done to provide guardrails, that is means to provide a kind of a stability, especially to prevent Islamabad from its habitual recourse to nuclear brinkmanship, that हम तो इसको use कर लेंगे. So though Trump claims that it is going to balance between India and Pakistan, but then India is not the same India which was there in the first decade of the 21st century. The ceasefire had been immediate and also understable because India was able to get its objective done. India was not interested in the war, and the US trade relation as a lever will not be working in the longer run because the country is not ready for such things. So the Trump administration's own goals vis-a-vis Pakistan may be in the long term, not really helping the United States. So Trump, we know he is having a strategic thinking, transactional, and also he is going to seek economic guarantees for America's past economic costs. For example, Ukraine. But there is a kind of inconsistency when it comes to Pakistan. So Pakistan is a safe haven for terrorism. US can do much more, but they are strategically not doing it. And they have not even decried the Pahalgam attack the way it should have been. More should be done, including taking it to the United Nations and also sanctions by the United Nations Security Council. Because Pakistan's madman approach is not only terrifying for India, but also for the whole world. So, Oval Office may be taking credit, but actually Pakistan continues to breach the ceasefire And secondly, Kashmir is not an international issue for us. It is an issue between India and Pakistan, for which Pakistan must, pay the price. So the things are very much changing for India also on the grassroots level. That is why we can't say that only America will be able to get a solution for us. Now, in this context, Modi ji's doctrine, so Operation Sindoor, we know that it is the new normal, it is strategic approach, it is bold approach, and it is the feeling of the people. Three pillars, you can say that India's army can attack and will attack the terror masters and also those who are supporting them. It is a zero tolerance for nuclear blackmail. India will not succumb to nuclear threats or coercion. And thirdly, the doctrine refers to the no distillation between terrorist and sponsor, as I just told you. So no more business as usual with terror. This is very, very clear. And India, from last 1 decade, India has been practicing it. So why do you think that the India's new security doctrine or the Modi doctrine of dealing with terror, it will be successful in the coming decades? Why do you think so? Please write a short note. When we talk about the challenge beyond Pakistan, so the world outside neighborhood demands a greater Indian attention, and the narratives must not be by the outside powers, for example, even by the US. So that is why we have to understand, we have to make the world understand the consequences what Pakistan had been doing, and Pakistan's masters, including Turkey, and also the role played by China. But on the Indian side, Russia was there, but the Russian powers also did not come out very clearly, and they were not decisively standing behind India. Maybe they are also busy with their own war. But the question is that India was able to make things, positive and fertile by its own efforts. So that is why what we can say is that America, which is trying to contain both China and Russia, will not be successful in that regard, because it is going to be a long-term process. So India is very, very important and strategically placed. And the Turkey, which had been supporting Pakistan, will have to pay a price in certain way. You must have been reading in the newspapers and otherwise also that India is boycotting, like the way we did with Maldives. So this is one of the ways. So even we can send messages to Turkey through Russia, which is having a good working relationship with Turkey. And Putin and Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky, they are also meeting at the Istanbul talks on Thursday. So Trump has already said that he is the one who is doing everything. So that is why with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar, and everywhere we can say that even its Arabian tour also, uh, America is going to put its stamp, and they are also cutting down the size of the European Union and Europe, and also NATO also. So that is why what we can say is that America of the present times is also willing and also going beyond money and going beyond financial transactions. It is not thinking about the great strategic power. It is thinking about how much money America can have first. That is America first agenda. And what we can say is that America is also being harbored, and the present president is also being thinking about his own business, and that is how it is seen as. And the point is that in the longer run, we have to see whether American decline, or what we can say, American order will be shaken by these transactional relationships or not. So the Gulf kingdoms, they have figured out. So they have figured out that what US wants, and they are ready for the transactions. So in the longer run, we have to see that only. So on one hand is Tehran. Tehran is standing firmly against the European hegemony, US hegemony, and India having its own strategic value, strategic place, though it is not so powerful like the way China is, but then we are moving in that direction. So the world is under a flux in that sense. That is what the article is trying to convey. Now let's talk about the big opportunity in government procurement. The free trade agreement with the UK, it has opened up India's large procurement market to British suppliers. We have already discussed that. And under the general financial rules, which is a general rule to do not discriminate between Indian and the foreign goods and the services. So GEM, the goods and services that is always GEM have to be mandatorily procured from suppliers registered on its portal. The rest can be procured through a fair and equitable tendering process. And another very important point is that both central and state government purchase is about 30% of India's GDP. The small scale sector in India have preferential treatment on the government e-marketplace, which itself has crossed 5 lakh crore merchandise, though it contributes only 10% of the total government procurement. So this is very, very important, very important. Mandatory procurement from Khadi and Village Industrial Commission, that is one part, so that it can grow. And there is a kind of a promotion for that. It is going to help the self-help groups also. Preference is there for Make in India, public procurement. Preference for Make in India 2016 restricts eligibility to bid for public procurement of goods up to 50 lakh on the local suppliers, so long as the nodal ministry has communicated that there is sufficient local supply of such goods. So there are certain kind of, what I can say, certain kind of opportunities, certain kind of areas. So if you say WTO, here what is written, there is a plurilateral agreement on the government procurement. In WTO, participants in this agreement have opened up their public procurement to each other and provided treatment to their suppliers at par with the domestic suppliers. So UK is going to get benefit. The idea is that it is going to follow all the rules. It is going to follow, all the channels, and that is how it is going to get benefit. So India's free trade agreement have left the government procurement out of the FTA disciplines. लेकिन जो कुछ मतलब some comprehensive economic partnership agreements, they include provisions for understanding each other's government procurement markets, and this is happening without opening the complete market for them. So this is a very good point. We have discussed it in a certain way also. It is going to bring more competition. It is going to bring more clarity. That is going to help. CGI Khanna retires, says public trust in judiciary is earned. We have discussed that also. Definitely it is earned. It is earned through the merit. It is earned through your deeds. It is earned through the judiciary's behavior. So that is how it is. He says that I carry with me a lot of memories, and the memories which are very nice, which will remain throughout. Once you are a lawyer, always you are a lawyer. The public trust which the judiciary has cannot be commanded. It has to be earned. That's what we are saying. So it is a very good statement which you can use in the ethics paper also. So you can write a short note upon judiciary, that how public trust in judiciary is earned since independence. And obviously the point that he is saying, that Supreme Court is not flawless, and they have removed the point-based system for senior advocate designation. So the bench of justices A.K. Okha, A.S. Okha, Ujjal Bhuya, and S.V.N. Bhatti sir, they all decided to confer designation shall be of full court of the high courts or this court. So as per the point-based system laid down by Supreme Court 2017, all matter related to designation were to be dealt by a permanent committee to be known as Committee of Designation of Senior Advocates. It was headed by CJI for Supreme Court and Chief Justice for High Courts, including two most senior judges of Supreme Court or High Court, as the case may be. So the panel had to evaluate the lawyers by giving them points based on the number of years they have practiced, reported judgments, publication in general, and interview. The Supreme Court Tuesday said it is not workable, and the point-based assessment has not achieved the desired results. That is why it is given up. And permanent secretariat put in the bar committee as 2017 judgment. It will continue. Fresh guidelines will be there. Applications of all candidates found eligible will be taken up, and they shall be placed before the court. So what we can say, the correcting itself and taking course correction is an amazing thing. And the decision shall be done by democratic method of voting. The bench left it to the respective courts to decide if a secret ballot is necessary. Judgment said its previous direction of fixing a minimum qualification 10 years of practice for being considered for senior designation need not to be reconsidered. So they can make applications, advocate can make applications for being considered, as it can be treated as their consent for designation. The full court may confer the designation even without an application being made. It added that individual judges cannot recommend a candidate for. So you can say democratization, more transparency. So what do you believe that what it is happening, and why it has taken so long time to do so? Please do make a note. So monsoon reaches South Bay of Bengal, Nicobar Islands, and as we have just said, it is the role of the IMD. We have done a short note on Indian Meteorological Department. Do go back and check and see how Indian Meteorological Department evolved through ages, and how it has been able to achieve the new heights, and how it is helping the African and other developing countries also. Please do make a short note. Need of the whole government society approach to eliminate TB, very, very important, very important. TB becomes multi-drug resistant. So that is why National TB Elimination Program is very much to be, implemented in such a way that TB must be finished. For example, workers in construction, mining, textile mills, and similar fields. That is why cleanliness through Jan Bhagidari, that is community participation. And India has set the target of eliminating TB by 2025 and 5 years ahead of the global goal. The global end TB strategy for 2030 says that country must reduce the number of TB deaths by 90%. So that is how it is. So you must write that how India can definitely, through a public campaign and through strategies, can really eliminate TB completely. Do make a note from the perspective of ethics question paper. President Draupadi Murmu paid tribute to the former President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed on his birth anniversary at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, please check out which number president he was, and you must know the names of all the presidents and their one or two great achievements. Shrinking political space, New Delhi has raised concerns over Hasina's party ban. Definitely, India as a democratic country can raise the point that initially they were saying that they will not be banning Awami League from contesting new elections, and Muhammad Yunus government has banned it under the Anti-Terrorist Act. After days of protest, the government cited national security threats and war crime investigation underway against the party's top leadership. So initially they said that we will not do anything like this, but now they have done it. So let's see how it evolves. The ban on Awami League without due process concerning development as democracy. India is naturally concerned at curtailment of democratic freedoms and shrinking political space. We strongly support the early holding of free, fair, and inclusive elections in Bangladesh. The party must be registered with the Election Commission to participate in national polls. Suspension means, the party which had led country for more than 20 years is now officially disqualified from contesting future polls unless the ban is lifted and registration restored. So why do you think so? That Bangladesh is taking up such harsh and such, prejudiced and such kind of narrow ideas? And do you really think new Bangladesh is evolving? Please write a short note, keeping in mind next one decade of Bangladesh growth and development and what kind of impact it will have on India and what role India must play. Please do think from these perspectives, and see you next time tomorrow on new ideas and new themes with respect to the general studies and optional discussions papers wherever it is coming. So from defense to politics to economics to society and to ethics, we have discussed many different areas including economics in today's discussion. Thank you very much.